And welcome back to the Boatfeed for episode 3. And no, it's not the same old background at the beautiful Chicago Yacht Club Belmont Station. Things are a little different now because it is the holidays, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alan Block, and with Matt Knighton, we bring you the Boatfeed, the best of the Volvo Ocean Race. We analyze the videos, we analyze the pictures, we take a look at what happens out there and try and tell the story of each leg of this race through the media that's presented to the world. That sounds like a good summary, Matt. How was your Christmas, New Year's? Everything good in your family?
A little bit more snow than normal, but you know, we managed to make it back from the land of the Canucks and get back to Chicago in one piece. So good to see you. It's kind of weird looking at you instead of a camera, but
I tell you what, I wish you and the family were here. We've got a lot of snow and a lot more coming, and the mountain looks beautiful. I'm here in Vermont, and had my little 2.5-year-old out on a tiny set of skis today. Nice. So I'm happy to be away from the horrors of the Southern Ocean and be warm and cozy in front of this fire in New England. But Matt, it's been an exciting leg, of course. But before we get to that leg, let's talk for a second about the folks that make this possible, our wonderful title and presenting sponsors. Of course, Musto, the official apparel provider and the wet weather gear monsters for the Volvo Ocean Race. I have to also tell you, I finally got to try out my Musto Expedition gloves. They're not inexpensive, but they're amazing. I had them out on the mountain all day today, and I'm no longer am I wearing ski gloves, and I'm sorry if that's an issue for you guys, but they're amazing. So if you look on my Facebook page, you'll see me and my daughter with my full Musto gear on the mountain.
I lent my Musto Gore-Tex gloves to my cousin when he went snowboarding last week, so I hear you there. We also want to thank Inmarsat, the official satellite communication provider for the Volvo Ocean Race. And of course, they also sponsor the OBR program, which we're talking about right now. They provide all of the satellite uplink from the yachts for the communications, all the media, as well as they're the ones that keep the guys safe out there, being their connection to emergency services. So thank you so much, Inmarsat, for making the boat feed possible.
Can I ask you a technical question about Inmarsat?
Maybe. How
do the boats talk to the satellite network when they're around the bottom of the world where there's nobody? Like, there's no shipping down there. Like, are there that many satellites hanging around on the Southern Ocean?
It's not a matter that the satellites are hanging around the Southern Ocean. It's that the satellites are in a geostationary orbit. So they're basically some of the furthest satellites out from the planet. There's actually only 3 of them. And so at any given time, those overlap and can see the whole side of the globe. So no matter where you are, the satellite's far enough away that the angles are all going to be able to reach there.
That makes a lot of sense. I've always wondered that. Thank you. See, they go right to the expert. I mean, Matt, this was an insane leg. This was a brutal leg. This was a leg full of injuries, full of serious breakages that may change the face of this race. And a lot more. Is this a typical long Southern Ocean race?
Well, I mean,
or Southern Ocean leg?
I can only speak from the OBR perspective, but to me, this looked much more intense than the Southern Ocean racing that we had even last race. And the reason I say that is going through all the media every day, there was more hatch shots coming out of the OBRs. And when we say hatch shot, that's looking back at the wheel from the concealed hatch area. It's very protected, and a lot of times, you know, we don't really look for those images because they tend to be comfortably shot, and you see, you know, kind of the same shots coming over and over again. But in this case, it was the exact opposite, and that was the only place that the OBR was safe. So the way that I know, or at least I believe that it was even, you know, rougher than normal, or at least last race, is the amount of content from protection that we saw from the OBRs. I also think that you saw the OBRs that were willing to be risky, certainly within reason, but to go out into the water and get those wet shots were, you know, handsomely rewarded for that. So, you know, it's always a fine balance for safety, but I think that is really a clever clue as to how tough it really was this leg.
And there's little question that, like, certainly it was the return for the race to that long ocean leg that we hadn't had in a couple of editions, because we had before that we had India and then we had China, but also I think they got into some exceptionally nasty low pressure systems, one in specific, but even a couple really. and you had those shifting currents and wind against current in some portions, you know, leaving Cape Town and all sorts of nasty things. And that's why you end up with black eyes and messed up arms and you know, broken canting keel systems.
It took its toll.
Messed up masts.
For this show's purposes, a huge round of applause for the OBRs for gut through that.
I can't even imagine it. I just got off the phone with Jen. We'll talk to her later, but you know, it just it sounded like it was literally torture at times. Like it might as well have been getting beaten in a dungeon, you know. But she and I guess everyone else wants to do it again. So, all right. So Sam Greenfield hits it out of the park again. Let's take a look at Vestas leaving Cape Town. Spectacular video.
Have fun. With this team, we've got a really good mix of like youth, experience, lots of races, people in for the first time, you know, giving them a bit of new energy. So we've got a really good balance, and you know, that's really good. That's really important as well. And but I think this next leg, you know, it's good. The experience is good, and it'll count for a lot. Certainly today, days like today when it's rough, and you know, when we get in there 3-4 days out and we're sailing along in 30 knots of wind, breeze is nuking, we're going fast, then you know, the experience of knowing how to tread the line between sailing fast but not breaking the boat is super important. So you know, having done the race before counts for a lot.
Did you get nervous before these legs?
The start's always a little bit, you know, the hanging around on the dock's always the most stressful part for me. It's tough saying goodbye to the family, but once you're out here, there's not much time for nerves, to be honest.
Yeah, a little nervous. Going into the Southern Ocean is a pretty big forecast. You know it's going to be hard work. So sort of got to be realistic about it.
Yeah, someone asked me this morning how many times I've been down there, and I had to count. I think this is my 10th time, even though it's the 6th race.
Stacking at 2 minutes, 3:30 right now. Lift coming. Tremont.
Keep easing. Keep easing. Somebody come up and help me. Spring on it. You gotta pull it out. Ready? Big one. Okay. Let's go. Start hoisting. Yes.
You cannot do that, guys! You cannot do that! Now I'm firing, man! Hey! What the f are you doing? Core, proper core! Proper core! Right! Water! 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 Get there. What? Tremont, mate? Okay. Hold that there.
Sorry for getting
No, it's okay.
guy,
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I saw him laughing against us. What happened at the start with Scallywag? What happened? Yeah, what was he doing? Right, it's really risky because he laughing against us. He had touched the boat, you know? It's not really a smart maneuver, you know? Like when you go to the ferry and we start crashing cars, you know? You cannot do that. coming from behind. We are on course, and he goes laughing really strong. Maybe this distance to the boat, near the broken boat, with a leg like this in front, you know. I don't understand. And he starts shouting. Then I was angry because it's not safe. If you have a problem, arrive to us, get the flag and protest, but it's completely over. He has not the truth, you know. Coming from behind, the overlap from behind. We are on course.
It's a long leg ad, right? Long leg?
Yeah, yeah.
You all right, Coach?
All right, 90 seconds, right? Why did I love this video? Let's be real simple about it. Scallywag versus Vestas nearly crashing into each other. One surfs against the other one and yelling and screaming, and Sam is sitting in the right spot, and he gets the veins popping out of his crew's face, and just beautiful stuff.
So good.
We've got.
No, I was just going to say,
What do you
Sam
got?
shoots this with a dive housing. It's so wet out there, right? Cape Town was the same way last race, but then they've jury-rigged them so that they've got microphones on top of them, so we're getting all this good audio. It's got a super wide-angle lens, so you're getting all the speed of the water rushing past, and that's the perfect lens to grab Scallywag, the luff, and then you see Chooney just absolutely freaking out. I mean, it's so good. And
You can't say it like that. What do you do?
And then Sam has the presence of mind to grab an interview with him after that, explaining what happened. Like, it's the package deal for me. It's so good. It was on my list too.
And it had the big water, big air of the first night. It had the tearful goodbyes. It had the camaraderie on the dock with different. It had.
And even
So
at the
great
beginning
job,
too.
Sam,
Just to mention this, that I think that Sci-Fi says, "Yeah, I'm not nervous," and then it cuts straight to Stacy, I think, saying, "Yeah, I'm nervous." Like, awesome editing, awesome boat feed.
Yeah, really beautiful and
Nice
cool.
job.
Well, nice work, Greenie.
The next stuff, what do you got? You got the driving video from Axel Nobel, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, there was a whole series of Axel Nobel stuff that we can talk about, but this one video that I want to watch, just for one shot in the middle of the video that really is the shot of the whole event to me. It's the best Volvo Ocean Race shot that's ever been produced on video, and you'll see why in a second.
So we're going to roll just the first 30-40 seconds of this clip. Check it out.
So, I mean, that shot, like, what is that? How have we never seen that shot before? I mean, that thing
Here's why you've never seen it. You've never
What
seen
is that?
it because
I just got scared.
In the Southern Ocean, they're usually not rolling when the boat's doing like, 10 knots or less in that type of sea state, and they're broken, so that's why they're doing it. And you get that happening when all of a sudden these waves are overtaking the boat because the boat's not going fast, and it shows you just how big that wave is.
It felt it, and honestly, like, I just watched it again, and I got the same chill that I got when I watched it the first time, and it's the same chill that I get when I watch like Step Into Liquid or some surf movie where they're on a 90-foot tow-in face.
It's the exact same. But
thing.
Here's what's cool too is the shots before that, and I was going to mention this also when you mentioned this was your favorite video. My favorite stuff I would almost wrap all the stern cams into one. The Chinese jibes, the broaches, all that was caught on tape. You know, what's cool is that for this race, they actually raised the camera, the stern camera that's on a gimbal there, they raised it up several feet because we realized in the last race you couldn't even see the bow of the boat. So what they did is they raised the position up higher. Now you can see the bow and you can actually see the boat going down these waves, and it changed the perspective on everything for this leg.
Well, it also gave you like a head-high view of the drivers too, instead of sort of looking up at them. And if the boat's heeled up a lot, you don't really see them at all, except for this bottom shot.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So
yeah, that blew me away. So that was who did the editing on AXO? This leg was.
We're gonna have Blakey on hopefully again, or for the first time pretty soon. He's on a leg off right now. So there's 2 AXO Nobel videos. The first one is with a Garmin Verb up the mast as they're doing the repairs. And the second one is going to be the drone video of the same thing while they're doing the repairs. And just for everyone that maybe wasn't aware, AXO Nobel snapped off their mast track halfway through the leg. It took them days to fix it. The whole thing practically came off, and they tried to glue it on and it didn't work. And it was just this entire fiasco that you know, they're lucky they were able to get back to Cape Town, or they're lucky that they were able to get to Melbourne, you know, right around Christmas, I think the day after. So let's check the videos out. So the footage was awesome, right? The up the mast, the Garmin on the helmet. We've all done it before. But what's cool about this is the sea state that they're in, and this perspective of these like huge 30-foot high waves just rolling past them, kind of like in the last video. I mean, you never get to see that. For Blakey to have a good relationship with Brad, to get him to wear a Garmin in that scenario, it's super dangerous for the bowman up the rig. That's awesome. It just was a cool video, I thought.
I agree 1,000%, and in part because, like you say, you just don't see it happen anymore where you're going, or ever. I mean, where you see people up in that kind of breeze, but also where you see them up and the boat's not moving very quickly. That's part of what makes the drone videos interesting too. Of this, but I also think that that one of the things about Blakey is you can see how quickly he gets into relationships with people.
Definitely, and it's super.
You know what I mean? And Brad Farron is a very compelling guy. I know him very well over the years. He's funny. He's charismatic. He's just a great guy. Super nice, and always has a turn of phrase. And you could see that Blakey really brought out a lot of that out in him. And the camera loves Definitely. Brad. He really does.
And just to say, like that. So that second video, the drone. I mean, there's still guys up the rig while he's droning. It's like a second perspective on this. I mean, and sure, he had a lot of time to do all this, right? Like the boat's not going anywhere. You kind of figure out how they want to do it. 90 seconds is up, but okay. Here's the other piece about it that was awesome, is that you had freaking albatrosses circling the boat as this is all going on. It's like
going after the drone.
It's like buzzards. It's like, yeah, what do you call them? What's those birds out in vultures? Yeah,
vultures.
Over a dying, animal, and they're all just like 9-foot wingspans, and he gets them in like they're like right in front of the camera. He's practically following the albatross, which is something I told Sammy that he needs to get. But Sammy, Blakey beat you to it. He did. So it was cool.
You're gonna have to start. They're gonna have to start chumming for albatross.
All right, what else do you got here, Clean? You got
all
Liz, right?
I'll tell you what, yeah, and again, like I obviously, like we beat on it over and over again, but there are just certain people who are incredible on camera, and Liz Wardley's one of them. She stayed on after the last Volvo. She's been running one of these Volvos through Sweden, and she's just
follow her. She's one of the good ones.
She is, and she's good looking, and she's hilarious, and she's an amazing sailor. And I love to listen to her talk. But this video, let's have a look at Liz doing the debrief after a big broach.
Basically, Lukey had one. He went hammering down a wave, nosedive. Pretty much the rudders came out of the water, I think. The cockpit filled up with water, and then he was heeling over so much. He was so low, he heeled over so much that the water. A bit like that, really. that the water came flying down the hatch. Because we were heeling over the wrong way, it went straight on me and my bunk. So it's already pretty bad, but it was the first time I'd been in my bunk since we left, so I was all really comfortable. The water was freezing. I managed to get the sleeping bag over me just in time. I just got my new socks out, hanging up in the bunk to change into when I got there. So of course they were soaking wet. My boots were hanging off the bunk. They got full of water. Bledden's boots got full of water. The mattress had a puddle in it about that deep. And so the bunk is unusable. Bad news for the OBR because we now have to share a bunk with him. And yeah, it's all a bit damp really. Good day at the office.
This video, I don't think it was the most technically amazing video. I don't think it was. It didn't blow me away the most for a lot of reasons. But what it did do is it gave me a really good explanation of an embarrassing moment. It's not even embarrassing at this point. It's just that's part of the racing. I mean, boats broach. Why did it broach? How did it broach? How could it have been stopped from broaching? What's the effect on the crew? How do they get it back? Liz talks us all through that like she's instructing us on the boat, and lets a little humor get in. And I just really enjoyed the explanation. I really enjoyed the reality. You know, I feel like this leg, maybe we didn't see the whole picture from a lot of these teams.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you might have not seen the whole picture, but like they're going through so much during this, and you can never really get what they're all. There's so many other stories that could be happening, you know, along the ways, and I think that Jeremy does a really, really good job here, and Liz is so open. She's so candid. He takes full advantage of that.
I know,
and that's part of what makes a good OBR, in my opinion, is that you're able to focus on different characters and know when to use them well. You know, clearly in this situation, Liz is your go-to. D, she's going to give you kind of the good skipper soundbite, but Liz, she's going to tell it like it is. She's been there before. She's experienced, and she's really succinct with what she says. So, really nice job.
Face to face with an OBR, and unfortunately, Matt had some stuff to deal with and didn't get to do these interviews. I did them, so they're not as expert as they would be if he was doing them, but they're not bad. And here's the cool thing is we finally got to get our first OBR on board with the Boatfeed, and it was Jen Edney, who I've known since the very first picture she ever took in yachting, I think, and you've known her forever as well. And we just love Jen. She's amazing. She's the only woman OBR in this race, and I think that's important to feature because we need, you know, we've got 20% of the fleet is female now, and 1 out of 15 OBRs is female. So that's something that Volvo is going to have to fix, and I think they know that. But we talked about that, a bunch of other stuff. So let's hear from Jen Edney, winner of leg 3 on Team Mopfrey. Now it's time for face to face with an OBR and our first ever is an old friend of mine and Matt and everybody else in this business who's met her and knows her. Jen Edney, welcome to the Boatfeed, Jen.
Thanks, Alan.
I can't thank you enough for getting out of a 30-hour trans-Pacific travel and getting on your phone and talking to me. But look, you've done a whole lot of everything. You've been groundbreaking in your adventure photography and your coverage and now in your videos from all sorts of events. We don't have to go through your whole history. Let's just talk about this. You just did the toughest leg of a brutal Volvo Ocean Race. What's your overall impression afterwards?
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect when we went down there. We knew it would be tough, but it was by far the hardest sailing experience I've ever had, just physically and mentally and everything in between. Besides the accident, it was a good challenge. I mean, I was with a great team, you know, sailing with Matt Knighton, and they were pushing hard, and we did more jibes than I've ever witnessed before in my life. You know, I had respect for the sailors before this leg, but massive respect for them after watching what they go through and what they can do, and no complaining in the conditions that they're in. It's pretty amazing to be witness to it front and center. So.
Wow. And day after day after day of it. What do you want to do it again? Do you want to get back out there and recover and do another leg?
I know most people think I'm crazy, but yeah, I'm pretty disappointed to not be sailing this leg. I expected to be sailing the rest of the race, but it was just the best decision for everybody and for healing to sit out this leg. So I fully expect to be on the rest of the race.
Yeah, but it's also Jen, you know, has a nice win for a leg of the Volvo Ocean Race.
Yeah.
The last time around, and certainly asking Matt about this stuff, like he really felt like he was part of the team with Abu Dhabi, but now it's a different structure than before. You've got OBR switching around and stuff. Did you feel like part of that team headed into that finish line, or was it more distant? Well, I know one of our top picks, or at least one of my top picks for the week, was your jibe-orama video, where you did a jibe from I think 3 different angles in a really slickly edited way, and then had I think Xavi talking through it. It was really cool. We loved it, and I feel like you got plenty more in store when you get back out on the boat.
Yeah, you know, I think when you take a leg off, your creative juices, you know, they don't have an outlet. So you have 22 days to build up what I want to do on the next leg. So yeah, and then, you know, it's just amazing seeing what everybody else is doing on all the boats. You know, it's everybody's coming up with new ideas, and there's some pretty talented guys out there. So
for sure. Jen, one final question. You know, we were a little disappointed that there weren't, with so many women in the race now, that there weren't that you were the only woman, that there weren't more women on the OBR side of things. Do you think that's going to change? Do you think that was an oversight, or what happened exactly?
No, you know, it's the same question that I have, and you know, I'm also an instructor at an adventure sports photography workshop, and the percentages are about the same. I'm the only female there, and the students over the years, the numbers have grown with females. But my question is, you know, maybe more broad, and I know there's women out there that are capable of doing this job, or can be, and it would be nice. My goal after the race would be to kind of figure out where the gap is, because there's definitely some talented women out there, and I was disappointed also to see that, because I know there's more out there. So I think it would be worth it or my goal is to just kind of figure out what's going on. And
so tell us real quickly, the accent. I mean, we've seen we've seen pictures of you getting stitched up. It looked like from your output that maybe you were kind of laid up for a while. It's pretty serious damage. Can you just sort of quickly tell us what happened?
Yeah, so I think it was around midnight on the 21st. I mean, it sounds weird, but midnight UTC time, but it was light out. Basically just helping the crew just exchange some food to the daily food bag, and it was a pretty rough day, and so we were trying to help each other out. And Rob was sitting on the bulkhead, and we're on the windward side, and Juan and I were trying to transfer some food, and hands were busy doing that, and we hit a wave and went head first into the bulkhead. Juan came with me, and but yeah, I knew when I hit that it was pretty bad, but I was lucky because I had a beanie on my head, and so I think that helped.
Awesome stuff, Jen. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Check out Jen Edney AP and Jennifer Edney on Facebook and Twitter and Insta and everything else. Thank you so much, and well, good healing. I hope you heal quickly.
Thanks, Alan.
All right.
Yeah, so that was awesome, awesome stuff from Jen. Thanks for doing that interview, Alan. We're gonna keep cheering her on as the race goes on. And next we've got another special segment, Dial a Fan, right?
Yeah, Dial a Fan, man, and this is cool because there's not always a way to sort of honor people that go above and beyond in the fan experience, and since the last couple, when this guy John Callender, who was just a Sailing Anarchy forum reader and a fan and a lifetime sailor, and a huge fan of this race forever. He's a database guy, and he decided to spend a little time and index every single one of the videos and create an incredible spreadsheet and front end and everything. And let's hear from John and hear how he did it and why. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for Dial a Fan, and John Callender is our Dial a Fan. This is for the first time we're introducing this this segment, but why are we introducing this segment? And John, welcome to the Boatfeed, man.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
well, why are we introducing this segment is that, you know, because the Volvo has such a, it's the gold standard for people to get obsessed with something, you know, and even though the America's Cup may be a bigger name, maybe not, who knows, but as far as like what people really get obsessed with and put their hearts into for 9 months, whether they're playing the Volvo Ocean Race game or just following the race or somehow involved with the race, you know, officially, you live it, you love it, and you're excited for the next one. So this guy, John Callender, you have really made my life easy because you decided to, well, you tell us what you decided to do and why.
So I've created a spreadsheet, a Google Docs spreadsheet that's available publicly online, where I just list each of the videos coming off the raw feed out of this edition of the Volvo. And I go through and I annotate each of those videos. Like I have a column in the spreadsheet for which sailors appear in each video, and then a description where I just describe what's in the video, and some tags, you know. So the idea for me, why I did it was, you know, I was very excited when this raw feed came out with this edition of the race, because I was one of the people whining excessively about access to the content in the last edition. And the different teams, you know, some of them were more forthcoming with their content and some of them were less forthcoming with the content. So this time around, the fact that we've got this raw feed is wonderful. When I started seeing those videos, I realized really quickly that it was going to be hard for me to find these videos. You know, it's great for like what's the latest stuff up there, but drilling down or trying to search through it for older stuff was harder. So I just thought I'd create this spreadsheet and use it, and I'm glad that other people are using it. I mean, it's mainly there for my own, you know, I'm scratching my own itch with this. So I wanted to be able to go back and find my favorite videos from earlier, and this lets me do that.
Listen, thank you so much for your time. Make sure to check it out at what is it? Hang on.
vor.jbcsystems.com.
Yep, check it out and let John and everybody else know that you appreciate their work, whether it's in the Sailing Anarchy forums or however else you want to get in touch with them. And hopefully you'll check back in and we'll maybe hit you up again before the race is over, man.
All right, well, thanks. It was really fun talking with you.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
We're going to move into the leg 4 preview.
Well, it's sort of a preview because it's already happening, but they're 3 days in now.
3 days in, and okay, first of all, OBR World, Anne-Marie Ross, Jan Rue, and Brian Carlin all
huge fan favorites as well.
So maybe we'll get to be able to have some of those guys on, you know, after the leg. We'll see how they go. Certainly a crazy leg, never been done before in the history of the Volvo race.
What is this kind?
You know, Melbourne up to Hong Kong.
Sorry, what is this Melbourne to Hong Kong leg like present itself for these OBRs and these crews? Like, what's going to be unique about this leg that might be unexpected or surprising, or they've just never seen?
Well, it's going to be a lot like leg 1, I think, but in reverse. You're getting the nasty stuff coming through Bass Strait, which we kind of been seeing the past couple of days, but then, you know, they're going to be hitting upwind. It's going to be uncomfortable. Then they're going to have to be dodging islands and the doldrums. So you're going to get some of kind of the calmer, you know, sailing, and then they're going to, you know, rocket downwind into Hong Kong. So you're going to see the fleet go through all these different phases where the dynamics change on board, and the OBRs are going to have to adapt to that. So right now, you're getting all the wet and wild footage, all those kind of sexy water photos, waves crashing over the boat, but they're going to have to adapt. They're going to have to survive going upwind which is going to be just full. Some days you don't even feel like you want to shoot when that happens. Then you're going to get into the doldrums. You're going to have to get creative. You know, you're going to have to be coming up with stories when there's really no stories to tell and there's no action to shoot. And so we're going to really see a test of the storytellers during that portion as well.
Well, they do have the advantage of a couple of seas that are teeming with life, so that could be pretty cool. That coast of, you know, that Northern Australia coast all the way up to you know, through all those crazy coral seas and everything else. And you've got a lot of shipping at the back end too, lots of shipping. So that could be a concern as well. And everyone needs to go to Volvo Ocean Race and check out the race. And I think that's all I got, Matt. I would be very happy to be alongside you in beautiful Chicago in a couple of weeks' time, because it's just not the same, man. It's not the same.
Yeah, we'll see when you get back here. We still got the old set pulled up, so we'll be back on the air after leg 4 up to Hong Kong. But remember to stay tuned, everybody. During the leg, we're going to continue to post on our Facebook page photo pics, great videos when they come out. I think I might even try to get some of the other pro photographers in the sport to start sending in some of their pics during the legs. So keep an eye out for that. And we'll see how we go.
We might also have a couple of Facebook Live interviews, possibly, or at least one during this leg that we're going to post right up on the Boatfeed. So please like this video, share it, go down there and smash those buttons, and like the Facebook page, and just let everyone know, get it around to your friends. We want everyone to watch, enjoy this Volvo Ocean Race expert eye.
And thanks again for Musto and Inmarsat for making all of this possible. We'll see you guys next leg.